Morning, everybody. Here we got channel members Craig, Ivan, Don, Logan, Svinborn, Jerry, Rob, Joy, Donald, Sledge, Frank, Arturo, Scott, Curious, Dan, Diane, Pauline, Sergio, K, Brian, Ted, B. Good to see everybody. And check it out. We've got greed. We've got the greed. We've come from all the way down here, all the way up here. Now, we might push this up to here, but I do expect a revisit down here. We've spiked it up. About a week ago, we were pretty neutral. A month ago, we were at extreme fear. And a year ago, we were at fear. Welcome to the rally. Well, the count's pretty full. Lots of divergences. Can we grind higher? Sure. There's no hard and fast anything. The market can do whatever it wants to do. Remember, just because I say there's a line in the sand doesn't mean we can't step across the line and then, tempt everybody. The market loves to do that. Loves to push it just a little bit beyond. Now, when we talk Elliott wave, there's a few rules, like wave 2 cannot exceed the start point ever. Otherwise, it's something else. All right, that's just the way it works. Right here, my 50K challenge account. Check it out. This is on the 1 month right here. 1 month up to 1.76 all time. We started out negative all time. Now we're at 1.2. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. On the way. Still got a long way to go. I mean, $1,700, great and all, but that's nowhere near $50,000. So, got a long way to go. We're only like 3 weeks in anyway. If we look at you can see right here, that's how we've been going. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. And, KMFO doesn't, I don't know how it picks up the dates out of my Robinhood account, but it doesn't just show like I booked all that profit yesterday, which I did. So I don't know. I don't know how it works. It threw it on like the trade open dates for some of those. And maybe it's because I'm doing a lot of put selling. I don't know. Beats me. But there you go. Want to follow along? I'll throw the link in the chat. Become a channel member. I throw some details in there. Premium channel members, I'll throw in the positions once a week. Like I'll probably throw, like when I add some new positions, I'll probably throw that in there. I played Pins and Texas Roadhouse late yesterday. Looking for earnings. Let's go check those out. I guess before we hit that, all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance, not necessarily indicative of future results. Just because I got it right in the past doesn't mean I'll get it right in the future. That's kind of the way this goes. I may never get another trade right again, even though I've got a 100% win rate so far. This presentation intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining, not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instruments. So if you desire personal financial advice, hire and consult a financial advisor. And if you want to actually get all the trades, I guess I should throw this in the chat also. You can go to this link, jeffreytrader.com/inquire. Fill out the information that's basically saying you want more information about Term Buyer Trading Lab and you want somebody to contact you and talk to you about it. So Term Buyer Trading Lab is my all access thing. You get access to everything I'm doing, including the $50,000 challenge. It's the only way that you get access to that. You could let the team know that if you don't want Term Buyer Trading Lab, you could let the team know that, you want access to it some other way. I guess if there's enough demand, they may put something together. But right now, they're not interested in selling access to that outside of Term Buyer Trading Lab. So the publisher has the right to make the decisions. So pins. Dun, 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 dun. Let's go up to the daily. I thought we were bottomed out here, and looks like quite possibly the rally up here to the roadmap line on earnings that maybe we have actually bottomed out on pins. Nice 3-wave right there, and possible to break out and go higher right there. All right. You're a lab member. How do you get access to the channel? You already have it if you're in Discord. Like, you got to be in Discord. If you're a term art trading lab in Discord, that's like, I mean, you have access. It's just right there. Use the channels. If you don't have permission in Discord, if you're in Discord and you haven't told me you're a term art trading lab member, well, you're missing out on a lot of channel access. So, alrighty. Dun, 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 dun. Pins could be going all the way up here if we'd actually break out. I just traded some puts right down here overnight. Those will probably close out for full profit right after the open. Texas Roadhouse, TXRH was the other one I played. Played 150 strike put. Right down here. And we were popping after earnings. Now it's, it was up 1%. Now it's down 1%. No move. Works for my puts. Those will go out for full profit. Cha-ching. They did report growing demand, growing same-store sales, but missed by 5 cents and beat by a little bit. So I don't know. Don't really care. I was just playing that short-term opportunity. It looked like a bullish chart. I could get nice premium. One-day trade. Boom. All right. Yeah. Those buttery dinner rolls with that cinnamon butter and free peanuts. I mean, you'd be full before your dinner even comes right there. And, yeah. So, S&P, everybody's like, JT, I think you're wrong. It might be busting out. Be very, very, very careful here. Yesterday, look at that. This candle yesterday. Spiked. We had that pull down. Lasted 3 days. Into the 4th day. Big strong reversal. We hit the resistance. I didn't even trigger my 5720 upside target. We could still go hit that. We hit that 1448 level, 5716, and then close the day right down here. Be very careful here. All right. Look at that. Beautiful 15-minute roadmap bounce. Can we do that again? Absolutely. Anybody know what next Friday is? Anybody know what next Friday is? Look at that move. Next Friday. Dun, 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 dun. Why does next Friday matter? It is the 3rd Friday of the month. That's the monthly options expiration for May. All those people that were buying puts on the way up. OPEX, right? All those people buying puts on the way up, majority of them probably buying somewhere between, weeklies and the May expiration, expecting another dip. We might hover. We might just kind of screw around in this area through next Friday and then take the dive. Be very, very careful here. I don't usually throw this on the chart, but I should probably favorite that so it shows up on my list. This right here. Look what we got cooking right here. That's divergence is what we call that. Prices going higher. The enthusiasm of each move going lower. That's divergence. All right, biggest move was over here, and then we're drifting off. That usually indicates, you know, we don't have much on the 4 hour, but we're already on the downtrend here. You usually take it back to 0 before we go again. You see over here, as we topped out, right back here, big spike, lower, lower, that's lower, and then we went negative. Even right there, we were high, low, low, negative. Big up, swing down, big up, swing down, and lower, lower. That one didn't result in a big pullback, but be careful. The 1 hour is where it really shows right here. It's negative divergence here. Probably go get a move to the downside. It'll probably be smaller than this one. Create the divergence on the downside, and then we can go up. Daily charts hitting the resistance. Right there. We haven't really been able to peak above that since more than a year ago. So this is kind of topping out here. We saw the, come on now. I need to hide the AO. That's what needs to happen. This, despite that rally yesterday, lower high. There was the high, lower high. We've got indications that we're going to take this back to the bottom. This can go down there in 3 to 5 days. It can be down there. That's probably the fast end. Slow end, it could take a couple weeks. It could take a couple months, as we saw right back here. And that was the high, and then this was the ultimate low. We did get to the bottom right there. It took about 2.5 months. S5FI, probably going to dip back down before we go on up to the top. S5TH, just grinding this uptrend of lows. Wouldn't surprise me one bit to do something like that. Look at an ES overnight. What did it do? Not a lot. We're still in that danger zone. Remember, the danger zone goes all the way up to 5,800. Could we still pop the top of the box? Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, don't get too complacent here. Nothing's set in stone. There's no... But things are getting... Check in on Tesla. Crossing... Look at that pop. Yeah, baby. Nice strong rally today. Pushing through the daily roadmap line. Back to ES. So there's nothing set in stone. We could top at any moment. The last little squiggle could be the final one. This came up just shy of the 1448. We might go at it one more time. Entirely possible. And then take a bigger correction. The bigger correction is highly likely. It's like 90% likely to retrace out of this box to the downside before we can bust through. Highly likely. Now, what might be the Trump yesterday saying you should buy stocks? Great. And he's saying 50% tariffs on China maybe next week. Great. This morning, 80% tariffs on China this week or next week. Great. That whole narrative Maybe the trade talks blow out this weekend. Maybe they break down. Maybe we don't get something, and then the catalyst is flush out. I mean, Jerome Powell floated the idea of raising rates. We're not doing rate cuts, at least. Market didn't react. Not really. So news stories don't really move the market. That's the whole narrative here. For me, it's the reality. So we've got this move down. Turns out it was somewhat corrective. Now we popped up. How high can we go on NQ? This is NASDAQ futures if you're not familiar. Got one little squeak left up to about 2366. Possibly even up to 2440. And then we'll probably get a bigger correction. Those are probably the tops. We could take it all the way to the top of the box, up here around 21,000. I don't really, I mean, we're already hitting our head pretty good here. Likely to top out. Saw some strong moves on Russell yesterday. But when you zoom out and look at it, didn't really go anywhere. Didn't really go anywhere. When we get the correction in these two, this one likely to come back down to this area right here. Maybe like, how do I trade that one? How do you trade Russell? IWM right there. Yeah. Candles look very small. We're just kind of grinding Russell compared to back here. So it's all relative when somebody says, oh man, Russell was like smoking hot yesterday. Zoom out and look at it. Like, that's not, everybody gets stuck in the small time frames here. Yeah, 1 minute. We had some big moves. On the daily, not really anything. CL, oil, West Texas Intermediate crude oil breached that 618 or about 6:30 this morning. Fired off some alerts. Kimberly was like, what the fudge? She looked at me like I caught an evil eye before she rolled back over. She may not even remember. I don't know if she's on here. I didn't see her talking. But I fired off at like 6:30 this morning. And now we're pulling back. So be careful. This one can roll right on down. I still expect to move lower low than breaking on out. We are above the 30 minutes. Probably in the 4 hour. Yep. So look right here. Last time we tested the 4 hour. Nice big strong 5 down. This is a 3 up. Watch out. Probably going to do another flush on oil. That's what that looks like. Gold came down to the 4 hour roadmap line. Get a bounce. This can still go one more high. But it's probably heading down here. We can still push this up one more time. And because look, I mean, that's 1, 2. We can still do a 3. That 3 could even come right up to the prior high. And we can still do this right here. So nothing set in stone for gold either. Corrections are the hardest thing to predict. When predicting this, my big prediction is we're going down. How we get there, that's the roundabout's way of all this. Like, you can do this, and then that, and then that, and then that, and then that. So, nothing set in stone. Bitcoin finally pushing up, finding resistance at that 104 area I was talking about. Funny enough. Draw a box, try to poke up, got to that 1272, which that's a good level, I guess. We completed 5 up. To a proportionally, that was kind of like where I said we might top out, right? Yesterday when I put that on there. First move up, the retrace. Here's the next move up, the retrace. And first move, compared to the fifth move, right there, we pretty much met the criteria. So what are we looking for next? Let's just take a few of these lines off so we can see more clearly. See more clearly now that the rain is gone. We're still in that zone where we're trying to confirm we're going higher. So this looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. Probably going to do a 1, 2, 3 right back down this vicinity between, I'm going to say 87 and 94 probably. Typically we would bottom in the vicinity of the 4 on the lower degree. Could be the 4 of the lower degree here, and it could dip on down to the 50 to 618. Classic for wave 2 right there. So we could, ideally, I would want to see something in this 87 to 90,000 right there. That's the ideal spot. Don't get caught. Like, this is sucking people in right now. People are like, Bitcoin's breaking out. I got to load up. Classic market behavior. Rip everybody. Stop them out. And then take off. Classic market behavior. Watch out for the pullback. Probably going to happen. Probably going to happen. ETH finally making a big move up off the lows. Breaking through the downtrend highs. Right to the daily roadmap line. And rejected. This highly likely to retrace, retest the breakouts. If we do that right there, potential to go up. Big potential to go up. That low, that high. I love to see it, but there's just a high likelihood we're going to retrace right back down to 1800. 1800 to 2000 area before we take off and break through that daily roadmap line. Highly likely. Highly likely. After watching hundreds of charts, thousands, tens of thousands of charts, I mean, years of price action. Yeah, nice 5 up, but the 3 is not looking like the strongest wave. Possible that some sort of 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, and then we get the retrace. But so it's possible to push on up to probably this area before we retrace back down, but probably going to do some sort of retrace. NKD finishing the test is probably going to pull back also. So I don't know. Do we hover until the OPEX next week, or do we start the pullback? Not sure. This right here, kind of wedging out a little bit. Like these are diverging. I mean, converging as we go out in time. We're just kind of bouncing in this zone. Do we bounce out or do we bounce down? That's the question. We could just grind right up until we hit the roadmap line too. That's the kind of the 3 potential pathways for dollar right now. This is looking more and more like we're done on the downside, but the way this price action has started off the lows is not reassuring me that we're not going to do one more lower low. Feel like that's at least 50% probable right now. At least 50%. So looking at the Mag 7 stuff, Apple still kind of messing around. No real conviction to go up or down. Probably needs a bigger swoop down. Amazon coming up into that daily roadmap line. We may see this push on up into that and then get the retrace. Google did the retrace. Got smacked down a couple days back. on Apple saying that, well, they're not seeing many people use Safari to do searches. People are downloading these apps and using like Perplexity and other apps that have AI to do their searches. See, it's kind of funny when you look at it. Google has this. They started putting out. If you've done a Google search, like that box pops up as like AI answer. And it just kind of answers your question most of the time. But you're like, do I really trust it though? And when you go use Perplexity, it gives you an answer and then gives you like references, 3 or 4 websites that reference the answer. And there's several tools that are doing that now. And so advertisers of websites, all these websites have built. We know how the web works, right? I mean, you go Google, I want a recipe for chicken parmesan. You go to that website, first thing you see is 9 gazillion ads, right? You're like, oh, so many ads. And you finally get to the content. And the recipe even probably has ads stuck in it when you're just trying to get the ingredients. And, I don't like that. I think you probably don't like that. Like all the freaking ads. Like I just want the information. And but all these websites have all these content creators. Me too. I mean, I play ads on my YouTube video. We make money off the ads. There's not like giant revenue streams outside of it. I do appreciate every channel member, but the channel member revenue is still significantly smaller than the ad revenue on this channel. If more people joined as members, I'd consider turning it off. Now, content creators are complaining that Google is now putting these AI results, so less people are clicking through to the websites that have all the freaking ad content to get information. Me too. I look at the AI answers and then don't go deeper because I hate the freaking ads. So it's like this catch-22, right? How do you improve the answer? Like, how do you give people just answers, but also support the people that create the content that you get the answers from? This is, people are voting with their app usage on Apple, but they'd rather just go to Perplexity and get their answers. And we're seeing a decline in Google because of that report from Apple right there. I mean, you can say that's the news. Really, it was already happening. I mean, it was happening in the background already. Like it's been happening for months. These AI answers have been cannibalizing not Google's ad revenue, but the content creators' ad revenue. And then we've also seen less people using Google to ask questions because Perplexity references actual websites. If you've not used perplexity.ai, go check it out. And it's kind of interesting, especially when you want factual, source-cited information, and however they filter out and figure out which ones are the most important. So this is just a technology shift. It's like AI is shifting the way we're going to search for information. And the guy from Apple was speculating that maybe in another 10 to 15 years, we wouldn't need a phone. We would need an AI assistant. We won't need a phone because we won't be the ones looking up the information and spending our time doing that. We'll just get the information. Maybe humanoid AI assistant, maybe not, humanoid AI assistant. Maybe it's just your glasses. I mean, maybe I don't know how this might develop, but Apple was speculating that maybe 10 to 15 years, we don't need phones anymore. At least not in the capacity that we have them now. Now, yes and no. The major use of phones, by far and large, is not looking for information. I guess depends on what you classify as information. The major use of phones is, the reason screens have gotten so big and all this sort of stuff is we watch a lot of videos on phones, and spend our free time watching, you know, content that may not be suitable for all viewers. If you've never thought about that, that's actually the #1 major usage of portable devices out there. So think twice before you touch somebody's phone. This looks like a wedge, watermelon seed squeeze. We might break down before we break out. Meta coming up into some resistance here. Probably going to get a pullback. Microsoft still grinding. Looks like we may get a pullback back to the roadmap line before we can push on through. Nvidia still in the zone of ambiguity. Coming up to hit the daily roadmap line. Still looks like that wants to do a correction before we can go higher right there. And then Tesla, as we saw, pushing through. Pushing through. Well, that's cool. This is my, now my thing's messed up. This is my #1 bullish stock for the summer. Right here. Do expect this to come on up to 380 and find some resistance. Maybe get a pullback to the roadmap line. Break on out. June is a big catalyst. Starting in June, they're basically taking on Uber and Lyft. Head to head. It'll start slow. They're looking at maybe 20 to 50 of their vehicles operating in Austin the first couple of weeks. They hope to ramp that up very quickly. We'll see. I think things that could be, risks, maybe somebody gets killed in one of these automated vehicles. And that could be a risk to early fast adoption. I'm sure they're not unaware of that, and they're going to do everything in their power to prevent that from happening. But that is a risk to their plan, and it seems like to me the #1 risk would be somebody getting in an accident and losing their life, and that seems like that could be the biggest threat to starting the new cybercab business. Uber here saw its first quarterly decline in app usage in a lot of years. Right as we head into the launch of Tesla. Lyft, that chart looking kind of bearish also here. Be careful on that. Now I go pull all the gainers. That's things moving $2 or more up in the pre-market, put it on the gainers list. I pull the decliners, things moving down $2 or more, put it on the decliners list. And lately I've been bringing the setups. I had 15 of these today. Let's go ahead and rip through those real quick, see if there's anything that really sparks my interest. I'm not going to talk about it as much. That would be a no from me. That would be a yes. I would probably go after this one or think about it. I'll have to do further analysis is what, got the high, we got the low, fired off the entry, 46.32. We can get there. The big thing I don't like here, the flatness of this chart. Why am I interested? We have 26 trades, so 4 trades is not going to crush these numbers right here. This is already running well above 80 and well above 2. Even if we take 4 losses, unless they're outsized, it's probably not going to crush these numbers that much. So this one seems to trend and outperform. Last time you can see what it did right there, spiked up and then immediately gave it back. So if you're going to go for the target, book your profit and then get out. C-band, that would be a no from me. It's already in the trade and it's already gone lower. CPSS, don't like the flatness of that chart. EFSC, I know that the Finder picked up this smaller move. I would be looking for the bigger resistance to clear at 57 HG. One trade in the history. So this is just standard. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. 22.37. JKHY. Clear that off. Wow. I don't tend to like these stocks that get these big swings like this. I just don't care for that. But this has a smoking hot win rate. Look at this. 38, that's check. 86, check. 3.4, check. That one has big potential to go right on up there. Now, it did not meet the criteria to trigger my TradingView algorithm. It triggered my Python algorithm that runs in the background every night. Maybe work, maybe it doesn't work. Now this one, I'll guarantee you why it didn't kick off is because it saw that bigger move and it did not close above that bigger move yet, right there. So this algorithm is waiting for a close above that 182.60 before it kicks off right there to find that bigger move. Low. Southwest Airlines, we've got this high, we've got this low coming in right there, 37.50 target. Did not kick off this algorithm because this swing is a little too crazy. MIRM. Got that high, we got that low, we didn't kick it off. I'd be looking for, so my algorithm finds these right here on Python and that throws them into Discord. I would be going for that bigger one right there. MQ. I don't like the downtrend into this one. PAHC. The high, the low. The numbers suck on this one. I wouldn't touch it. PAX. Downtrend. Not great. Doesn't mean it won't work, but 1342, low price stuff, caution. PHB or PBH, say the letters in the right order. 1883, 2.7. You have to default back to 75, 1.2. 9165 targets. TCBI. Yeah, I wouldn't trade this one. You know, all those lower highs. This one is gonna have to break out through that stuff to go higher. THR. Yeah, I wouldn't trade that with all these downward highs either. Pass. So not anything great on the list today. Not anything I'm like, oh man, that's so good. Looking at gainers. Pod. Boom. Look at that. Fired off the entry right back over here. And then right up to the target right there. Messed around, boom, right to the target. So, worked. TMDX, kind of hanging here. Need to move up through that 132 to get on the upside. Net coming on up into the resistance. Got kind of a resistance zone right around here. Got to clear that to get up to 189 if we're going to do the bounce pattern. And if it rejects here, we can see it come all the way down in here at 70. With the potential for a big market pullback, I would be cautious. Look at that reverse split. Talk about a dumpster fire right there. Holy guacamole. Dumpster fire alert right there. I would not touch that with anybody's money. ETHU. As Ethereum keeps ripping, this one has nice upside potential. TTD, trade desk, resistance right here. Potential to go even higher. We did a potential deep bounce setup. We stepped across the line. Potential to go higher. On log mode, we still stepped across the line, but we have that potential to go higher. That potential all the way up to 200 to 300 right there. Lily, this one taking a deep retrace after coming up in here. Still has potential to go up to 977. MSTR, stepping across. This is setting up. This does not negate getting a pullback, but this does yesterday's close sets this up. It's a potential right up here. 617 upside. Doesn't mean we won't get a deep pullback, but we can get a move right up to that 617 area. We've got the setup in place. Looks good. I'm already long it. Be careful. MCHP coming into the resistance here. DFDV. Not enough candles to do anything with. TSM. Resistance right there. EETH. Just be careful on these right here. It's an Ethereum. As Ethereum comes back, like I said, I expect to see a pullback in crypto. This would be the buying opportunity right here. I would be very, very careful if I was buying right here on these highs. Wait for the pullback. App11 into the resistance. Watch for a pullback. Did report earnings. It came out pretty all right. So we're right up to the resistance. We have that gap down. Resistance right there. Be careful. It may, if we poke into that, we may get a little pullback before we can bust through. We have not found the conservative entry yet. We're going to have to get a close above that 380 area to kick that off for 600 up there. Pins, like I said, nice strong move up into the roadmap line. Beautiful. Beautiful. Probably already out of that one. Toast. There's the high. Here's the low. There's the resistance. 47 is the target. Texas Instruments coming up to test the daily roadmap line. SOLT, Solana ETF. Hey, rock and roll, baby. Solana coming up into the daily resistance there. Poke through. Look at that. Push down, poke through. I do kind of expect, if we hit there, to see some sort of retrace before we can go higher. Expecting all sorts of retraces. JNUG may come back to the roadmap line. PSIX, Power Solutions International. Resistance is right where we are. Seeing a little finding resistance there. If we can get a push through, we can see some upside to 51. FETH, Fidelity's Ethereum. Ugly. Watch for that to come back to the roadmap line. ETH. I don't think that's the right one. Let's see, what would it have pulled up? What would that have pulled up? Would have pulled up Grayscale right here. Come up into the roadmap line. Watch for a pullback. TM. Not doing anything. Sideways chop. Like that was a lower low. So we've just got one big move up off the lows. Retracing. If we hold the roadmap line, we could push higher once again. Probably not much more than 200 before we get a bigger retrace. NVO. Still consolidating down here. Roadmap line. Resistance at 85. BA. Announcing deals with, UK is going to buy some jets, and China, they're going to push China to buy some jets, and then let's make a deal. Probably going to get a retrace. That's just one big move up. Probably going to get a retrace back down in the 170 area, 175 area. Chevron, still consolidating at the lows. FoxF, Fox Factory Holding. Resistance at 30. This has been down, 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 down. WGS. That retrace could be done. Not for certain. Just one swift move down. Probably retrace back up to 88. And then we'll see if we reject that gap down. Could get lower. LEU. Let's clean that one up. Go after the high. Go after the low. Seeing this potential pop right up here. Speaking of energy and stuff like that, GE Veranova, like yesterday, announcing, I don't know if they were announcing, somebody was announcing that the SMR in Ontario got final approval, and it'll probably be the first one, the first SMR, small modular reactor, to come online in the world. So they got final approval yesterday from Canada to get that online. 486 is upside target on GE Veranova. They got one planned for here in Knoxville. Still looking for final approval on that one. I guess there was a big story on the news about it earlier in the week, local news. They've got, I think, 4 more reports to submit to the NRC, National Radiation Council, or whatever it is. They'll have to review the application and all the stuff, but they're hoping to have the one here online by 2030, possibly 2032. It's kind of like our loose timeline. So we'll see what happens. I mean, that's still 5 years out. Hubs. Resistance at the roadmap line. And Nuclear Regulatory Commission. That's it. Nuclear Regulatory Commission. I can't remember. NRC. There you go. That's a downtrend. NRC is just what I remember. And I have a, funny enough, I'm a card-toting trained radioactive material user. I can't even remember NRC. That one has a downtrend. Turn down to the resistance. If we can find support at the 618 at 144, potential to pop higher. That's no support. CRWD has the setup to go higher, but it may fail. They all may fail. Affirm stopped right in the danger zone. Retrace to the 618 would be positive. If we break down below, it's probably coming down here on Affirm. V. Twin V Power Cats Co. Reverse split. Dumpster fire, baby. Hymns get a little pullback action. If you didn't get in this one yet, we have the potential. Now, this could last 6 months, so Hymns is giving you some opportunity to get in. Ion, Hymns, Monster. Almost played earnings on that one, but I couldn't get. This looks like we're topping out on Monster. Like this looks like we're going to do the final little push here before we do a bigger, deeper pullback. So be careful. This has a full count. And looks like we need something deeper on the pullback side. It's been straight friggin' up for a long time. So be careful. This one probably needs some sort of deeper retrace. Maybe back down in this area right here before we can set up another big upside move. You see my fib lines from when it was higher before the last split. So I would expect a retrace back down in the 20s here before we can get a next big setup going higher on Monster. RCEO, nothing. Akame. They haven't showed up on the list. I just couldn't put myself into that one. Nothing gave me confidence that this is this is done on the downside. We may easily go lower here. All right. That's kind of the list for today. Expectations. Well, I think I've been pretty clear on what I expect to happen. There's potential that we get one more little pop. Maybe two more. I mean, you know, we could potentially grind up here to 5,800. There is that potential in that chart. I mean, there's like maybe a 10% chance we'll poke out the top. Even if we do that, we're probably still going to get a significant retrace. Several hundred points. Be careful out there, everybody. Be careful. We're probably going to get a significant retrace. Probably going to take us back down in this area. Somewhere in the 51 to 5,300 point area. Once we've got that drop and we get the next move up, we'll be able to tell how things are shaking. Like what direction the market's going in for the next big move, big major move. You may think this is a big major move, but it really is just an inside move. You know, we've been down to 48. We've been up here to 57 at this point. This will be an inside move. This will be an inside move. And once we have that in place, we'll be able to tell where we're going next. Are we going to all-time highs? Are we likely to go to lows? So till we have that clarity, be careful. Probably grind higher, maybe possibly into next Friday. It'll be kind of a boring market week if we just screw around in this 5,700 area, possibly to 5,800 through next Friday before we potentially do this. This is imminent. I have positions in place to take advantage of that. I haven't really lightened up. Well, I lightened up on some of my bullish stuff, but not really like in a major way. I do expect a pretty big pullback. It's probably going to affect a lot of the market. Might take us through late in the month. Now, just to go back through a couple other things. Those of you that are still here get rewarded. We have volatility. This is brand new through 2024. We could drop off in volatility. Like we may see a vol drop, sell in May, go away, and then we spike in June. So volatility typically sees about a 10-point swing into June. That's why I've been playing out with the 30 strike VIX calls, playing out to June. I do seasonality wise, the last 20 years, we typically get a spike in volatility into that second week of June. This is typically what happens. Typically get a late May spike in volatility. And we're still early May. We're still up here. Well, we may see a reduction in volatility and then a spike, then a reduction, then a big spike into June. So be careful is what that's telling us. Be careful. Volatility historically kind of spike, like starts getting a little crazy. And then I brought one more chart. SPY climbing versus put call ratio declining. When we get big divergences, usually we kind of, bring these back together. Now we haven't really gotten any kind of super major move here yet. Look at August right there. We spiked. Look at this. This spiked that put call ratio higher. We quickly did a move down, coming off of it, and then we got another pullback right there. For those that don't remember, we're talking about this move right back over here. Big swift pullback, fast rally, another nice deep retrace right there. Right to the 50%. Big swift move up. Hover. Looks a lot like what we're doing right now, right? And then swift pullback. Big swift move up. Hover. Would not surprise me. See a big swift pullback. Put us right around 5,200. If we're going higher. All right. Be careful, everybody. 2033. 20. I guess 2030 start construction. 2033 open. Yeah, it's all loosey goosey until they have a approval. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. We'll see you again soon. Monday, same bat time, same bat channel, 9:15. We'll hunt for opportunities, see what's shaking, try to figure it out. Have a great day.